Oh, okay, we are at 3781 Woodbury Road, Building 2. I'm actually going to stop this. I don't know why. For some reason you can't see the full thing, but this is Building 2. I have to make sure that that overlay gets fixed. Make sure that the overlay is properly displayed. You can tell it's 3781 Woodbury Road, but you can't see the 2 at the end. But we're doing a sanitary lateral inspection for the purchase of an apartment complex here. And this is Building 2, like I mentioned. And again, we're looking for any structural issues, root intrusion, stuff like that. This is another high side clean out, and you can tell that it doesn't get used very often. It's full of spider webs. So what we're going to try to do is I'll probably have to push through this to get through it, and then I may end up having to clean the camera off once I get through here. Almost through it here. This just builds up with junk because if it doesn't get accessed, there's no flow through here. So it's pretty common to have a bunch of junk that builds up there in that turn and it dries out. So surprisingly, my camera's not all filled with the spider webs. We are just inside here. You can see as I push, again, I'll have to push some of this stuff out of the way. Again, this is cast iron, and so we're looking to try to make sure that there's no major holes or anything like that. Again, you can't really tell. I want to mention that on all these, that cast iron, you can never tell how much life is left in it just due to the nature of the material. And so what I may try to do, because here's just toilet paper holding some water back, and so most of the time we can see a lot better on the way back. But I'm also going to try to do, you can even see toilet paper there on the top, which hopefully that's not an indication of a recent backup. But, cast iron, you can't usually tell what kind of lifespan it has left in it just because you can't, take an x-ray of it and figure out how thin or thick the walls are. So, push along, we're just looking for any major damage. Again, cast iron is also prone to soft clogs, which is like excessive toilet paper and wet wipes and stuff because of how rough the pipe is on the inside. Because it could be just because it rusts. So I'm hoping as I push this stuff out of the way, with the suds, that this will drain down a little bit and we'll be able to see better. Yeah, I think somebody's running some hot water in there. It's not a bad thing, flush the line out, but probably when I get all the way through, we'll pause the video and I'll try to make sure that there's not as little water running as possible so that we can see a little better. It does look like it's flowing quite well. That's what you're looking for, but if you add too much water and it builds up, obviously it gets over top of my camera lens and I can't see. And that camera lens is only about a ½ inch off the bottom of the pipe. And so what I may try to do is also have the opportunity to go to the downstream side. This is the upstream side of the building, so we are going in and through the building. We will as I pull back, I should be able to see better. But on the other end, if I go through, if it's a two-way clean out, I could go backwards and maybe get a standoff in the line, and that might be a better approach if there's going to be a bunch of water running. Seeing just a little bit of that's the connection. Some looks like hair or something probably coming through from the bathroom connection there. But so far the line looks great, and we're about the same spot. Here is that outside clean out on the downstream side of the building. Like I said, I believe this side of the building is the northeast, and then the downstream side is the southwest. So, looks like these were all connected into this main using SDR35 PVC, which is good. So we made it all the way to the main. Now hopefully, I'm going to pull back up here and just get the camera flat before I go getting near that clean out, which I know is still outside the building, before we pull back through that cast iron. And I'm going to pause the video and I'm going to see if we can kind of pause the water running for a minute, and that way hopefully it'll drain down a little bit and we can see better on the pullback. Okay, so they were running some water in there, some hot water. That was a little bit of steam. So hopefully that is all drained down, and we'll be able to see all the way back here. But the spots that I could see, and it was a pretty long stretch, I'd say a majority of the line, still looks good structurally. Yeah, I mean, the line itself, the structural, just how wide open the line is a very good sign. Based off of what these units look like, I believe this stuff was built in the 60s, maybe 70s, and so looks like it's in pretty good shape. And a lot of times, like I mentioned earlier, you can have this and the rust will build up with some mineral deposits and it'll kind of close the line up. But this looks like it's keeping the full interior diameter of the pipe open. Bit of grease. Like normal, you'll find this right around the kitchen connections a lot. A little bit of toilet paper. And now we're getting some water running, so hopefully you can see there's a connection and some looks like somebody did some laundry in there. That's what all the soaps, a lot of times when the laundry picks up, that'll fill the line up, because that's the biggest inrush of of water. Probably started right there on that connection there to the top, or maybe not. This was all full of water before because of the belly, and now it's all drained down, so they might have been running the dishwasher, or testing some stuff for the rest of the inspection. hardest thing again about looking at all this is just how nasty it looks. So you got to try to pay pretty close attention to make sure that, like that, there's a connection on the left, but it hides pretty well with all the rust. And because cast iron is prone to more like soft clogs and backups because of how rough the line is, you always want to pay attention and try to prevent people from flushing wet wipes and stuff down the line, because it doesn't take much to get a little soft clog that's not hard to clear, and a lot of times the water pressure alone will pop it loose. But cast iron is always the worst for like toilet paper clogs and stuff. No, this unit up in here where I'm close to, this is all empty here, so this was probably fairly dry until it backfills from laundry or something like that for the rest of the line. But again, I haven't seen any solids, any solid buildups, or any indication of any backups. And the line structurally looks good. The water's draining. Like I said, the camera's only a half an inch off the bottom of the pipe, so the fact that this is draining as well as it is a good sign. Somebody might be in there running a little bit of water now because there are people looking at the unit. And I think this is the end where there is nothing I'm pulling back out of the clean out. So this is all mud from the high side that never sees water. So we are out. And so again, that line looked great structurally. I didn't see any structural issues. Didn't even see any bellies or any low spots. The cast iron looks like it's holding together rather well. It's wide open and flowing at time of inspection, and no solid buildup. You know, didn't see any holes or structural issues like I mentioned. So that'll end the inspection for 3781 Woodbury Road, and this is Building 2.